All right, so Jen,
Hi.
take it away.
It's for me. It's for me. This, I would like you to know, this will not have a whole heck of a lot of technology involved. Okay, it will have very little. Okay, none, because I can't technology. And if you understood what I meant when I said I can't technology, you know the kind of Spanish I teach. So I just make stuff up as I go along. I mean, I can speak and everything, but I don't require much from my students. I just want them to be engaged with the language. And I think that's a win. I am a rule breaker. I've never met a rule that I've liked. And that holds true with rubrics and pyramids and standards and Common Core and all that education malarkey. If I offend you by saying something against all of those lovely, shapes and colors and things, I apologize. I just can't wrap my head around it. I just like the people. I like to be with my students, and we hang out, and and most times we do a little Spanish. So am I doing the screen sharing?
Oh,
Okay, so here I can be my own meme. Am I sharing my screen? Am I sharing my screen? Yeah, because I can't do this. I'm like sweating already. It's having nothing to do with the hot. Can I do it now?
oh,
Well,
that's my fault.
yes, is what I'm
I'm
saying.
so sorry.
There you go.
Yep, hang on.
Okay, share. Is this my screen?
Just a sec.
No, that's yours.
Hang on, I don't know what just happened.
Well, this is going to be so comic relief here, and that's why I was invited.
There we go. No. Oh,
Okay, no?
here we go.
Okay,
I hit the wrong button, which often happens to me. I'm
right.
so sorry, Jen. It's all you now.
I am not really concerned about this, okay? Because and this is really the way I operate. I don't even know how to present. How do I do view?
Down at the bottom, if you hit share screen.
Okay. Oh no, I got that part already.
Okay.
Oh, but now I can't see anybody.
Would you like I can share, Jen, if you'd rather? Do you want me to do mine?
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna figure it out because I'm old enough now. I should be able to figure these things out. Okay. Okay, well, I can't see everybody. If you have a question, just shout and turn off your mic and or turn it on and yell loudly. Yeah, okay, this isn't going to work. Whatever. Just if you have a question, Elisa, will you just tell me, because I don't know how to work this.
Yep, I'll take care of it.
This is when pandemic happened last year, and I was teaching college, and I was actually in Guatemala at the time because it was spring break time, and I didn't come home for 7 weeks. It was a blessing in disguise. I just made it easy for myself. So and that's what I aim to do now, and hopefully I will give you permission to do that as well, or encourage teachers in your department to do, because I know that when I see a lot of technology stuff online, and Twitter and Facebook groups, and it kind of freaks me out. I mean, it really freaks me out, and it shuts me down. And I'm not that I'm not tech savvy, I'm just not tech patient. And I like to be with my students mainly. So, I teach college, so this is okay. I can make fun of them a little bit and we have a good time. So all of this, GIM kit, pair, deck, I don't even know what they mean, because I just shut it all out. So the stuff that I want to present tonight is like really some old school stuff, and I really think you can still do it even online, or this sort of activity, whatever this is called, virtual. Okay. And less is more. If you can do one activity and have them engage for 40 minutes, I think that's the best thing to do. The jumping from bit to bit to bit is exhausting. It's exhausting for you, maybe not for students, but I think that that we've established that having all sorts of activities during one class period, and sometimes it seems like teachers feel like they need to entertain, especially in world language, and I don't think that that's necessary. You can entertain in other ways, putting on music in the background, or, showing just a short video and having a conversation, showing a short video and having a conversation. I mean, that could take, the longest time. So less is more. And this was the paradigm that I remember the first day that I was in a faculty meeting when I was doing my student teaching, that, beginning of the year. This is completely useless. Faculty meeting. Oh, I said that out loud. We can retract that. No. And they said, well, less is more. And, that just stuck with me. And I've been doing it ever since, which is only partially true, because then I went on to write a bunch of books, which is not less. That's so more. Okay, so, you can't see this other part, right? Oh, so all the slide says, and it really only made the slides to humor Elisa, because this is, this is not my thing, obviously.
We can't see them yet though, Jen. Can you hit share?
Oh, you can't?
Not yet. If you hit share screen, then we can.
I did. I shared the screen. Okay, no wonder. You're probably like, what is she doing? I think I shared the screen. See what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about, my friends?
Giving us permission to learn in the moment.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
There we go.
Okay, great. See everything that's going on around here. Okay, so less is more. That was my first slide. See, you didn't really miss much, because there's the slides, they're kind of awful. But they do the trick, because Elisa said to do it, and oh, now I see you. That's why I couldn't see you. And I'm like, look, I'm showing the video to myself. Okay, well, whatever. So less is more. Okay, big deal. So my whole thing is as long as students are engaged with the language, it's a win. So if you want to do the double back flip with 3 twists, knock yourself out. But that's not my game. Very simple. Just get them engaged, and that seems to be enough, and for me anyway. And never mind with all that pyramid rubric stuff. Okay, I don't know how to advance this. Thank God it's only going on YouTube and not, on CNN. Roi, which I know means king in French, right? Okay, well, that's not, this is I put on my business hat. Return on investment. You really think about, please, and this is part of the self-care thing, and everybody says, oh, make sure you take time for yourself. And yeah, well, who's got time for that when I'm gym kitting or gym kitting and pair decking and whatever ever? I don't have time for that. Well, you know what I say? Get rid of the gym kit and the pair deck and the other thing where you flop the thing. What is that called? Yeah, there's another one, but somebody just recommended it to me. I said, I can't handle another tech thing right now. So anyway, return on investment. If it's only going to give the students, 3 or 4 minutes of engagement in the language, and you spend, 45 minutes putting it together, okay, not a good option. That's just my personal opinion. You can do whatever you'd like, of course, but I'm just saying that it would be okay if you did that, because I'm still employed, and well, actually nobody knows I teach at the college, really, so that's another story altogether. But you can do it. No one's going to care that you're not, you having a spotlight and a little disco ball while you're having this all go on. Okay, so how do I? Oh. Can I move you? Oh, here we go. Moving you people. Okay. Also, I like to have the students do the work for me, because I always think to myself, you know what? I graduated from high school, I graduated from college, and I even managed to graduate from a master's program. So I've already done all the work. So if you can find an activity where, one day they're involved with the language, and they're preparing that same activity for the next day or for later on in the week. Win, double win. Okay, it won't be terrific, but who cares? Nothing in language is perfect. Okay, and those of you who are, or those teachers who are looking for perfection, are really barking up the wrong tree. So a couple of let me go to my other slide, which of course I can't see now because I have a bunch of, here, let me go. I'll go back. I'll toggle back. So I would ask you, how do you like to learn? Okay. And that's going to be the easiest sell. If you can, okay, I can't move this now. Oh, You see what I'm saying? This is why I can't do this. So how do you like to learn? That's the easiest way you're going to be able to sell it to your students. So if you like to get up and run around and spit nickels, that's the way you're going to get your students to do it too. If you're not like that, and that's not your personality, you have to pick something that matches your personality. Okay, and then I would sort of try to marry that with what your students like and what will meet the requirement, the skill requirement. Are you doing a speaking, a listening, a reading, a writing activity? And that's all the methodology pedagogy you're going to get from me. I don't know anything beyond that. L2, L3, lumbar spine, I have no idea. So pick those things and make it work for you first. Okay, I mean, many of you are probably parents. I'm not a parent, my gift to the world, but I think that if I were, I would make it easy for me first. Okay, because that will save everybody's life. Okay, and manage your expectations. So don't have the expectations that they're going to have a fluent conversation about, let's say, quantum physics, because they won't. I mean, if they get some words out in the target language, great. And they're having a good time, even better. And they're building a confidence. We're really lucky when we teach world language because we get to teach the whole student and all of the things, all of the science and the culture and all of that stuff. And if it's in the target language at their level, that's a win. I think it's a win. Okay, and that's what it says underneath it, but I don't know how to move you again. So, so I have here, and it will be in the slide thing, in the folder rather, a bunch of activities that I've put together, some of which I don't have any idea how to do, that I've never done, but I found them and I've talked about them with other teachers in the past. But the ones in blue, I'm going to highlight. And getting back to having the students do the work for this meet and greet character party activity. At the college level, I can call it a cocktail party. I know you can't. So have them prepare their character one day, and then the character from whatever, and then the next day or the following week, and excuse me that we're having a visitor. Of course we are. And then the next week, have them review who the character is, and then go out into their cocktail party and talk to people about who they are, and either be that a character from a book or a character related to something that you've read or you've been discussing. And if you're not able to relate that to something that you're doing, by all means, ask me. I'm good for an idea. Execution clearly is not my strong point. Also, the cat is just going to stay. The retelling of a comic strip drawn. So I have used this. I've used this even with my college students who loved it, by the way. I would, in 8 panels, summarize the chapter, and they would draw. Well, it was a listening comprehension. Oh, I teach the basic level. Nivel uno, level 1, what's the novice level? That's the word I was looking for. And so I will say, some very simple things, and they will draw that. And then the following times, we don't meet every day, the following class, they would turn around and have to retell the chapter or chapters to another student. Okay, very little work on my part because I've already written the book, so that was helpful. But so that way they're involved a couple of ways, and it carries on. I mean, and in that way too, my students, we can switch an activity. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes not. And it fills up, my classes are an hour and 45 minutes, so it fills up some time. Also, the speed networking, so, we could call it speed dating, but I'm sure there's a rule against that, and that's why I'm not teaching public school anymore. that where you have to tell your portion of the story. I mean, that requires no effort on teacher's part, and just tell the student, okay, really make sure, what are you going to tell the person who comes by, and every 30 seconds switch it up. At least they're, it's kinesthetic and Gardner's theory and yada yada. And so I like that. I don't do it in college level because I have to tell you, they give us these classrooms that are the size of a sardine can. So we can't do that anymore right now. Compare and contrast, same thing with a Venn diagram or a T-chart. Oh, the mileage you can get from a Venn diagram or a T-chart. Okay, even at an advanced level. Okay, just because the students are in Spanish 4 doesn't mean that the ideas that they can put in the Venn diagram are not advanced too. So win-win. And also at the novice level, I love it. Okay. Is there anything going on in the chat there, Lisa? Do you have any questions? Because I can't see you. People disappeared. And another activity that does not take a long time that students can do is who said it. So find quotes from the reading. If you're doing a reading in class, who said it, list those out. And then you as the teacher, or they can do it in groups, just to review what's going on. So it becomes a following up with the reading. Read the chapter again. I always get the students to reread several times, even though they don't know that they're reading again. So read the chapter again, find out who said this, so they have to skim, which is another good skill to reinforce. And then they can review in groups who said it, so it can become a listening activity. Or you can have students write out who might have said this, so it becomes a writing activity. Because if a story, in my opinion, as an author, if the story is well written, you should know who might have said certain things, and they can do that even at the novice level. I think pre-reading with scavenger hunt, I don't know why I highlighted this one. I don't think I had anything to talk about that, but that could be like your KWL. What do you know about that? And have them come up with ideas. I mean, stuff that you could put on a Google Doc, or just your screen share, and say, well, what do you already know about this topic? And they list those things. And what do you want to know? Okay, well, have them do a little research on their own, even if it's just a few moments. I love making the students do the work. And the only reason I am reiterating this is because a lot of teachers say, yes, you've taught me that. You've taught me not to do all the work. And I don't think we should have to do all the work. We've already been to school several times over. So by all means, get them to do a little bit. I'm not talking about assessments. Of course I'm not. I'm talking about activities and things like that. And and then the listening, the comic strip activity was the one that I mentioned earlier. And I know I'm talking really fast because I want to make sure that you have a chance to chat with each other, because clearly you're going to have better ideas than I do. So
one comment, I was able to see the file before, but now it says that I don't have access anymore.
Oh, well, Elisa, okay, you gotta go.
I can handle that. Yep, I got it.
Because that would be a tech thing, which you'd be waiting a very long time. I tried to send out this is just what we're dealing with here. And I tried to send out a Google poll in Google Forms today, and I sent it out thinking the link worked. It didn't. So, I would like to say you're in great hands. You are, with Elisa.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, now, I don't know. Is there another slide? Oh yeah, no, that's just upcoming. That's all I have for my slides, because I'm all done sharing, because and you can share later when you talk about the stuff for Idioma. Okay, what do you got? What questions do you have? Because really, I am good with the ideas. Execution, not so great.
Are we all able to access the folder at this point? Great. Norella, were you able to access the folder? Is
The
it still?
first time, yes, but no now. I'll try again. Yeah,
Okay.
but don't worry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to just
Okay.
just sneak over into, I'm gonna make sure that I have the shared, should be shared properly, but let's just make sure. You may have to sign in because it's a Google folder.
Yeah,
Is that what's happening?
I was there, but then he said that the access expired.
Oh, okay. Nope,
Access,
yep, I can see what happened.
because I was at,
Jen, can you reshare, please, the link in the chat? Can you put the link to just the workshop PowerPoint, please? Your Google Slides, can you share that in the
Yes, I
chat,
can.
please? And I can
Okay, and did we, here we go.
Yeah.
And did I share it or did you share it?
oh, I see. Okay, so
I changed it.
can you change, Jen, can you make another copy? So what happened is that, oops, we lost the, I made this folder editable for everybody. And
Yeah.
so I should have made the slides not, because we lost the slides. Those got
Yeah, they're
deleted.
gone.
So if you can change, do you know how to change the sharing privileges?
I think I did with anybody with the link.
Yep.
But what?
Can you make it, so you had shared, I think, a copy of it with us. Can you share another
now
copy?
it worked now.
Oh, it's working now. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, now it works,
Yeah,
yeah.
it worked.
perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yay. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Not for nothing, but I think that was the Christmas miracle right there. That I,
I'm so glad. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
Oh, that's
gonna
funny.
make sure this
you
goes.
don't know, okay, and just a point, you don't know how excited that made me feel that I was able to do a tech thing and that I fixed it.
You
That's
fixed
so
it.
funny.
Thank
No, no, no.
you.
But I want to relate it to, to language teaching. I mean, just giving them a few tools and letting them have at it. And knowing and letting them know that they're gonna screw it up and it's okay because you can fix it. I mean, well, you can't fix it if you get to, arrested or something, but I wouldn't suggest that. So, and they can fix it, and that is very empowering. And I'm very big into woo-woo now at my middle age. So, students nowadays, and I think that's why I started not enjoying myself as much teaching in public school, is that it was all, get it right, be perfect. You must be perfect in order to graduate, to get into this college, to have this wonderful career, to have this much money. And
Mhm.
for me, it's really, I just want you to be able to talk to somebody, who lives in your neighborhood, or
Right.
that's what I want. I mean, I don't care if they know the personnel. I was telling this to, I'd say the same story every time. I definitely an old person now.
Oh, no.
That I don't care if they know the personnel or the present subjunctive, or because I don't either. I mean, the personnel, like, I'm pretty much down, but the others, and of course I'm being hyperbolic, but seriously, that doesn't matter. I mean, I would think, especially as language teachers, we are very open and we're very sympathetic listeners to people who try their hardest to speak English to us, if that's our first language. And people by and large will afford the same courtesy. So, and I think that we should, give students all the tools. Those of you who are teaching AP, I'm really sorry, because I know you have rules, and that's why I was never invited to teach that course. Thank God. We would have had a lot of 1s and 2s that year. I'm certain of that, but a very good time. We would have had a very good time in class. Okay. But, so giving students that confidence that, you know what, go ahead, try to figure it out. Whatever you have. Elise and I were talking before that, her son's in first grade, and a bunch of sight words, and throw them all together and see what sticks and how to make it work out. It's such a game, and it's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And when they mess up, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say I like to make fun of my students, I mean, that way, just so it's a good time. Like, and teenagers now and middle schoolers now don't have that ability to laugh at themselves. I don't think any teenager ever did, really, but it's a good skill to have, because they have a long life ahead of them, and they're going to screw up.
Mm-hmm.
It's living proof that you survive every single day of your life until that you don't. And I got 100% track record on it. So I'm going to shut up now.
To kick off the sharing activities, I just put, as I mentioned, I'm starting teaching Spanish 2 tomorrow, surprise. And I'm taking over for another teacher. We're moving things around in our department because, we're teachers. And if you teach one language, you can teach all the languages, right? That's how this works. So I just put an example activity of something that I'm doing to go over homework that a previous teacher had assigned. Talk about work with what you got. This is what I got, and it's for tomorrow. So I just threw that in there. If anybody else have some ideas you want to share, feel free to screen share and walk us through your activity. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to pose philosophical thoughts and musings. What's working for you?
What's not working for you?
And how can we strategize too? Yeah.
What's not working? So I'm good in a pinch, man. I am really good in a crisis situation. Nothing. Everything's working.
Oh, Anna's ready.
Anna's ready.
I'm not really, I don't have really nothing to share that I say, oh, this is working great. But using the palette, has increased the participation in my students. Before I will ask a question, nobody volunteered to answer the questions. Then I had to pick someone, and hopefully that person will be there behind the camera, because they all had black screens or an emoji. So I wasn't too sure if they were really there. But using, the palette, I can see who's participating and who's not. And then I noticed that someone is not participating. I call their name. Jose, are you okay? Do you need any questions? Do you understand the question? Do you need help? Are you having technical problems? If you cannot answer me, use the chat and that sort of thing. But it's really hard. And there's a lot of apps, there's a lot of material. It's just that it is overwhelming with so much.
And I would keep it simple. Imagine being a student having to learn this way as well. I could not. I don't think I could do it. And to afford them that grace, because it has to be hard. And I'm sure you have material to cover or curriculum to cover, whatever that means. I don't know, but sometimes. And Anna, did you say that you teach the heritage and native speakers?
Yes. Well, they title it native speakers, but I have a combination of both, heritage and natives.
So, and I imagine too that you have certain actual grammar components that you're supposed to engage with them on, right? And
yeah.
sometimes that's not going to work, but maybe they just want to talk about how great the weekend was. And I'm not talking about the weekend, the 2 days. I'm talking about the weekend during the halftime show, the Super Bowl. I just found out who that was, by the way. And maybe they want to talk about that. And from that conversation, you can pull out those grammar concepts that you're supposed to cover that day, you know, just sort of listening to them talk and say, okay, well, and you use this phrase to say this, but when you write something or you're speaking in a more polished tone, this is what we should say.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. I pulled that one right out, you know where.
That was really good.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Mhm. Yeah, that's really good. And, you know, again, you know, they know it's really hard. And as I also mentioned, for them, you know, we're not learning what we're supposed to be learning. And, but let's try to learn at least a little bit, you know.
And I would say too, what they're supposed to be learning was something that was developed by people pre-pandemic, and instead of having students having them adjust to what they're supposed to be learning, I think that we as a society need to, you know, change tack and realize that we need to change for the students rather than worry about what they're not learning, because they don't know what they're not learning. You know, only we do. And if we can just, you know, usher them along and really support them, you know, being whole human beings, there's going to be enough trauma after a pandemic. So, and honestly, world language should not be one of the traumas. All the students that I tutor, I don't understand why their teachers make it so hard. They make it so hard. So don't make it hard. What else?
Lisa, can I share something?
Absolutely.
Yes. Hey, Jennifer, I remember you last year. I was one of your students at Alba.
Alba,
Hi.
Alba, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. ¿Usted?
Muy bien, gracias. Oh, we can tutear here. I am not an usted girl.
Okay. I'm Colombia. It's okay to tutear. It's
Okay,
fine.
great. We can tutear.
So I'm going to share something. When you were talking, Anna was talking about the Super Bowl, and you also were talking about the Super Bowl. I teach middle school, and I was watching the Super Bowl yesterday, and I was also grading, because here in New Jersey, we do yesterday was the last day of our market period, so to put the grades. And I was like, oh my God, what should I do? So my kids are learning chores in the house. And then when I was watching the Super Bowl, I'm going to share with you guys. Can I share?
Absolutely.
Oh, can you put me as a chair? 1 second. My stuff is really messy. Sorry for my closet, for my things on my computer. I'm sharing now or no?
You're
Everybody-
sharing.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm going to my school.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. But I feel like
I feel like I'm not. 1 second.
Anybody else feel like a voyeur when somebody else shares? That's a good French word. No, okay.
Now we know how our students feel though, right? When they're watching our desktop and our messy email.
It's
You
the
don't
author.
have that at all.
Oh, what a story.
So this is what happened. This is a result of something that I did from the Super Bowl. So my students are learning about Unidad la Casa, los quehaceres de la casa. Then I told to the student that was my favorite commercial about the Super Bowl. Of course, it wasn't my favorite one. I just lied to them. And then this is my favorite commercial. And when after this, we were watching the movie, and then I was asking them questions. We were watching this about chores in the house. So they were like, they start watching, and I didn't put the subtitles. We're watching silent, so I didn't increase the volume. And I was like, okay, so I put it silent. And then I was showing the students, oh, the mom, what's going on with the mom? Where is she? Oh, what do you have to do? So, okay, so they were, oh, where is the sweater? Where is the boy? He's on top. You know, you learn prepositions in Spanish. And then, so they were watching the video. And then I was asking questions about the video. So there was a lesson that was born based on the Super Bowl. And then where is he? What's going on? So they were learning about the house, chores in the house, and then also preposition. Oh, tiene que sacar la basura. Oh, pobrecito. ¿En dónde está? And then Está en la escuela. And then, so that was the lesson that was born based on the Super Bowl. And then was perfect for my topic. And then that's was perfect. So if somebody wants to copy this, you can just, if you teach in the house, the chores in the house, or family, emotions or something, you can say, how's the mom, what happened, or clothing too. You can do clothes, oh, el suéter, ¿cómo es el suéter? ¿Es grande, es pequeño, o de qué color? So you can do so much with this. So that was my idea.
It wasn't my favorite either, but it was funny.
Yeah, I did something that was related to, I was like watching the show and I was telling my husband, what is the name of this commercial? I'm going to find it. So I went to find the commercial and it was the Do Now. So it's kind of the hook for the students that I watch the Super Bowl. And then we go back to our topic. It's related to what they're learning and it's related to what's going on and what's related what's going on with the Super Bowl and the kids like we engaged with them. So that was my lesson. And then I started like that.
And you are a wizardress. I don't know what's the female term? Yeah, a wizardress. I made it up.
I think it's witch, but we'll just let that go.
Yeah, I like wizardress better. See, you know, and I don't technology. See, we just make up the words in your own language too. That with the technology, Alba was great. I mean, she'd be screencastifying and all this stuff, and I'm evaluating the work. I'm like, okay, A+ just because you did that, and I don't know how to do it. A+. So, but you can also just play the video and not make a whole slideshow. Do you make a slide?
No, I put it like silent movie because it was in English, so I didn't want it to.
Okay.
So it's a silent movie. So I mute them and then we create a story about what's going on. Is the mom happy? Oh, where is he? And you can do with clothing too.
Right.
You can do about parts of the house, family. And then you just go. I just got it because it was related to my topic. So I did it.
Sometimes that's the best thing. What else is not working? Because that's usually, I mean, or what is working? You know, if you want to humble brag here, please.
I think for me, because I'm 100% fully remote this year, it's just been, you know, in a typical classroom, I feel like it's hard enough to get 7th and 8th graders to speak the language, and then you add the virtual component to it. And then you add the fact that, you know, a lot of the times, and that's why I apologized, you know, earlier I had to keep my camera off. And I know everybody, you know, has different comfort levels, obviously, with cameras on and off. But a lot of my students do prefer to keep their cameras off. It's been very difficult this year. I feel like my energy level has to be at maximum 1,000 in order to engage them and to get them to feel comfortable to talk and speak and engage in the language. And I think for a lot of them, it is hard because they are talking to, you know, we're essentially teaching to black boxes half the time. So it's just been really hard for me to find that balance and trying to get them to engage in the language and have a little bit of fun with it and engage in the culture in a different way where we're not, you know, we're not face to face right now. So I love that idea of just even showing them a silent commercial and just getting them even just to shout out words in Spanish of things that they see that are related to the topic. Or, you know, I try to get them to utilize the chat sometimes, but they've been a little reluctant. So it's just difficult because language is so social. And so trying to mimic that and recreate that for them in a virtual world has been my hardest challenge this year. So any ideas to get them to talk, Jen, even virtually?
And well, what I don't understand, and maybe because you know, I don't understand why you would be in person and you could see their face. Why don't they have the cameras on? It's not like they're going to look any different. I mean, and nobody's looking around. We don't have time to look around. We want you to, you know, I just don't, I think it bothers me that they think that's a way they can opt out. so I haven't had that issue because I have said, listen, because I only teach 2 days a week. And actually only one of them this semester is in person. And I said, I live alone and I talk to myself all the time. I need to be able to see people. Okay. And some of you might not be able to have that excuse, but you could use it as an excuse. And then maybe they would say, oh, no, you don't. And they say, well, yeah, well, tell me in Spanish or tell me in Italian. But oh, Flipgrid, that was the thing I was thinking about earlier, but I'm not learning that. That is really challenging. Does anybody else have any suggestions on how to get their students speaking on the 100% virtual?
Senora Ramon, I'm 100% virtual. And then this is what you should do for your class. So when you join, this is what happened in my classroom. So I'm talking for experience. I'm teach middle school, so I know. So you go join your class, you're gonna turn your camera off and you're not gonna say anything. Trust me, the kids are gonna start chatting to you like, what's going on with you, Prophet? Are you there? So you do the same thing as they do to you. So put them in your place. Like you do the same thing. Trust me. Did you put your camera off and people are like, are you okay? Are you there? And they're like, start chatting, what's going on with her? So you're gonna tell them, this is how I feel. So that's one thing. And the other thing that I did, you create two accounts.
That's really funny. That's a good idea.
You have to join your Zoom twice with 2 accounts. One is yourself and you put another student, it's an imaginary student. And that imaginary student is yourself. And you just come and you answer your own questions. And you say, oh, how are you? Nobody answers. You go and answer yourself.
That's hilarious.
They will love you. They will be like, oh my God, she's too much or whatever. So you're going to have 2 screen computers and then one unmute and then you mute because be careful with the sounds in the same room.
Right.
You just go and then you're going to join. Oh, we have a new student. Her name is Senora Rosa de Guatemala, where you're teaching and you go on the computer and you're going to do, and then they're laughing. They're like, oh my God, she's weird. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, I know. The crazy, I've shown up with props, like wearing crazy hats and first day of school, I showed up with a Happy New Year hat, like Happy New Year. I've never minded, I'm a middle school teacher after all. You have to be, un poco loca to be able to do what we do. So especially at the middle school level, I feel like middle school teachers unite. You all understand, you all feel my pain. In order to interact with hormonal 13 and 14-year-olds every day, you have to have a little touch of crazy, I think.
Tell them you pick a song, like on Fridays. If you turn your camera, you pick the song for Friday.
Yeah, so one thing I did start this year is I always used to love to give like reward systems. When I was in the classroom, I would give them physical tickets. So every time they participated, they would get a ticket and then they could save their tickets up for different incentives. But where we're virtual, I can't give a ticket anymore. So it's like, where are my boletos de hablar? Like I feel so lost without them. So I've been doing just, boletos de participación, and I've done it virtually, like through a website that a colleague told me about named Dojo. I don't know if you're all familiar with Dojo. And so they collect virtual tickets. And so I do give tickets for participation, and that's been helping a little bit. And ironically, because I've been, really trying to encourage them to keep their cameras on, they can actually turn their dojo rewards in at the end of the week if they want for one do not disturb day, which they absolutely love, because then they have to ask permission from me to have one day where their camera is off and I do not disturb them. And so ironically, they're participating to have then that one day off of no camera. So it's like, in a way, I've tricked them, because it's like, I'm giving them what they want, but in order for them to get what they want, they have to do what I want them to do, which is actually keep their camera on and participate. So
do, like, for example, do a gift card. So put a different gift card, like Dunkin' Donuts, whatever little gift card.
Yeah.
That would be the price for a month. And you keep it going, and you don't mention that into 2 weeks. Hey guys, we're still in the competition. Trust me, they would do anything for gift cards.
Yeah, it's true.
Affordable. I would do something. I have something that I have kids in middle school and one in high school. She told me about a notebook that you can write, goes to your email, I showed the kids the Amazon video and they're like, you can get that. I told them in December. So I nobody mentioned, I don't say it. So they watched the video on Amazon about the notebook. They're like, that's so cool. Say that would be the prize for the best student in the school. So,
Yeah,
I have to do so much trust. I'm teaching.
I know.
I understand your pain, trust me.
It's been I mean, and again, this is not my first year teaching. I've been teaching for, 18 years, but I feel like a first year teacher all over again because I am just reteaching myself all of these things that used to come so naturally to me in the classroom. I mean, like you, Jen, after, a certain number of years of experience, I'm sure you can all attest to this. There were days where like my lesson was not going the way that it's supposed to, and I would just toss it right out the window and I would just pull something else out of my sleeve. And, you're like a magician as a teacher. It's just like those ideas sometimes just happen in the moment and you just go with it. But virtually, I feel like I have to be so carefully planned and so meticulous. And I have to be so methodical about what I'm doing that I almost feel like that spontaneity that I used to have in the classroom is no longer there.
Have you ever done a choice board or heard about choice boards? Nicole, you came to our choice board workshop. Maureen Lamb presented on choice boards a few weeks ago. And like I said, I do these workshops selfishly, even though I work for Idioma, I still I get to participate in all of them, which is so much fun. I introduced the choice boards that I created for my students this week. And what they do is they allow your students, they give activities for your students to work on at whichever activity they want to do at whatever time. And what my goal is here with them is that I want them to be able to turn off their cameras and just work on something independently for a little while and not feel like they have to be connected, but that they're still responsible for turning in, but it doesn't feel like it's an ongoing project. Basically, they have to complete a certain number. I can show you what mine look like. I shared the Class Dojo website also for those who are interested. So for that's my advisory. Oh, you guys are all getting a little look into my life.
Truth and a lie.
Yeah, for my advisory, we have a lot of fun. Okay, so this is for my French 2 class. This is what their choice board looks like. So basically, I give them this and I say, okay, you guys have 3 weeks. You have 3 weeks to do this. And they choose, choice boards can look any way. And if you go to our YouTube page, you can watch Maureen's choice board workshop. It was pretty incredible. And if anybody wants access to those materials, please just email me and I'll give those to you. But basically what they do, each of these, I want them to practice these function and structure activities. I want them to practice the vocab. And then they also are going to do some investigatory activities and have to do one presentational activity, but it gives them some choices to play with. So it doesn't feel as much like an assignment. And it gives you a chance then, what I would do is if I'm remote and my kids are in person or vice versa, however it is, put all the kids in individual breakout rooms and then you just cycle through and check in on them during choice board time. That gives you an opportunity also to check in with the students, just like, hey bud, here I am you haven't had your camera on all week. How's it going? It's just you and me right now. Can you turn your camera on for me? How are you? So it's kind of an excuse to get to talk to the kids individually also, while they're working on something that they don't need to have their cameras on for otherwise, or they don't need to be constantly listening to us yap at them throughout the whole class period. Our class period is about 80 minutes long. So I'll spend 40 minutes or so on whatever we're doing together, usually trying to focus on dialogue, right? Communicative activities. And then I'll shift the second half of the class. They're working on these, and then I can go in and if I'm in person, I can check in with my in-person kids one-on-one. If I'm remote and my kids are remote, whatever the modality. And the most important thing, Jen, I super appreciate you kept coming back to this word permission. The most important thing is that we're giving our kids permission to feel how they feel, and we're giving our kids kind of that space and grace. And if you're giving them space and time during the class period to do that, for a lot of kids that can be like, all right, great, like I got through that and now I can just work on my stuff. That makes
And
any sense.
Lisa, one question, how do you grade all the work? How do you control that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because I hate when I give it too much free time, the kids don't do sometimes. Like only the kids that know what to do, they would do it, but the other kids get lost. So how do you
Absolutely.
control, well, how do you control the submission, or how do you do that?
So the biggest thing is those one-on-one check-ins and making sure that when they're doing things on Google Classroom or in a Google document, you can always go in and look at those and you can see if they're working on them or not. And then you can always leave a little comment or something if it's later on. All of my students turn everything on Google Classroom. So they have to, for some of those activities, it's a screenshot. They have to share the screenshots. For some of the activities, like for Blue-Kit and for quizzes, and for the other GimKit, those are all assignments. So as they complete them, I can just go check on Quizlet or quizzes and Blue-Kit. I can just go check and see that they completed the assignment. For the investigation activities, they turn those in on Google Classroom, and I can see when they're working on them because those are other Google Docs and Google Slides. And then for the presentation piece, that's either a Flipgrid or it could be a Google Doc. So.
Okay, and can I just jump in here because I was an invited honored guest here. If all of this is making you have a somatic reaction and a visceral reaction to all of the digital stuff, you can just pretend that she didn't say any of that stuff.
Yes. And I said that to my department when I threw these out there. I said, if you can't handle another thing, throw this out the window and never look at it again. That's totally, totally fine.
But I will put a plug in for the choice boards because I used to use a choice board, the paper kind, because that's my era. But also you can have the students create the activities for the choice boards, and you can have them create the activity for another class, and so they're not the same. And they get the credit for doing the activity. I don't really evaluate much anymore because that's the bonus of being at the college level. Because I say to them, listen, you can not do it, but then I would ask you if you did it, and then you would have to lie to me, and then you would have to live with a lie. So that's it. Teenagers are not quite the same. They don't really care. So, but by all means, have them make that choice board and put fun things in there too. I mean, it's again, contact with the language. That's what we're going for this year. We are thankfully on so many levels, we are not in charge of curing cancer, and we don't have the nuclear codes. Anything else is a win, really anything else is a win. It's just language. I know, and if any of you who are, striving for the administrator position later on in your career, or next week, or however it works, could you remember that I said that? Because it's just learning. Learning should be organic. It's not, it doesn't have to do with a pyramid and a rubric and a common core, whatever those things are.
I agree, and I mean, I think that's why I feel so fortunate that I teach what I teach, because I do see, my husband is a math teacher and he teaches primarily high school and AP levels, and the amount of pressure that's on him to be able to get through, even during a pandemic, a certain amount of, curriculum and material is just exuberant. And then like he'll walk in some days and I've got my sombrero and my maracas. I'm like, and he's like, seriously, this is what you do? And I'm like, we're having fun. We're learning a language. And so I do feel very, very fortunate that I do teach a foreign language and that I do teach world languages, because at least it gives me that grace to just bring it down to that organic level, like you said, of just having fun and getting them to engage in the language and the culture and the experience of just what it's like beyond their little bubble, you know, as I always say, like there is a world, a great big world out there waiting for you that is beyond these four walls. I promise you that. But I guess my greatest challenge this year has just been to get them to talk because of the setting that we're in.
I have an activity that I've done that has worked well in my class, but I think it would transfer well online, although I haven't tried it yet. And it's the I Know More Than You Do game. Have you guys ever heard of that? In my classroom, and I shifted to CI last year, so I kind of, you know, was really big on that organic, let's just do it and get rid of the worksheets. I got rid of my desk. So I'm like, and then I got AP this year with my desk back and all that good stuff. So, but the I Know More Than You Do game is you divide your class into like 2 groups. So I'm thinking online, I've been in a couple workshops where when we do breakout rooms, they have us change our names to the number of the room. So I'm thinking online, because we're all in a different grid formation, if the kids could change their name to like group A and B, or the Rojos and the Azules, or whatever team name they had. And then they alternate around their group and you give them a topic. So if this is middle school and you wanted them to like say something about their house, or even just say objects in the house, you know, whatever language you're eliciting from them. And you put a time frame on it.
Okay.
Like for 2 minutes, we're going to do things for fun in the house, or chores in the house, or whatever it may be. And then they volleyball back and forth between the 2 teams. It's kind of like a hot potato that you want to, you don't want to be the last one speaking, or you could do a tally points to get, you know, which team gets the most utterances in. You know, you could play with it a little bit, but that would definitely, the competition part, gamify the speaking might help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, you know, it could be as long or as short as you wanted to, if it's just one topic, or you do a few rounds of it. But I had my students were, and they were 11th graders last year, were asking for the game in the end.
That's cute. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice because then everyone is collaborating and they're listening to one another's sentences and vocabulary that they're sharing, but they're not even realizing that they're learning from one another either, as they're like going back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the other thing. If there was a repetition, it would like stop the round early because they weren't listening to each other. And if so, they repeated. So, you know, like I had to be on my game too, but they policed each other, like so-and-so already said that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking how that works in my classroom because I teach virtual. Now already thinking how to do that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know, like I use Google Meet now with I have live and virtual students together. I don't know if I could do it in Google Meets, but if students are allowed, like I know in Zoom I could change my name. If students are allowed to do that in Google Meets as well, like if we just had team 1 and team 2, or team A and B, and we could just put that number or letter in front of our name so you knew who was on your team. And then, or maybe even you put the list of, you know, you tell them ahead of time, like Elisa, then Norella, then Anna, you guys.
Right. You could just share your screen with the names under and they know who's on their team.
Yeah.
We're a Google district and we also only strictly use Google Meet.
Yeah. And I'm, you know, as I sit here too, I'm just kind of thinking, I put Machu Picchu in my background. I'm kind of thinking, what about a show and tell? Whether it's realistic, your own living room, or you download before class, download a picture of your ideal living room, or vacation living room, or, you know, whatever your topic is. And then we're going to talk about them, but you got to be in the picture because it's your background. And then comparisons, or like you
but Chromebook doesn't work. My students use Chromebook. They don't have a virtual background.
Oh.
Yeah, I try.
Oh, that's not fun.
But we, the teacher, we could have a virtual background and we
Yeah.
could pretend like we have no idea what's behind us. And we
Mhm.
could get them maybe to
Describe.
describe what's
Oh, that's
behind me
cute.
so that I have to try to guess, you know, I could play
Yeah.
like I'm Mickey the Dope, or I just bumped my head and got amnesia and I have no idea what's behind me anymore.
Yeah.
Talk about what's behind me and convince me, you know, convince me to answer correctly about what's behind me. So
Yeah.
they could say, hay montañas, hay verde, estás en América del Sur. Like they could give me little hints to try to
Yeah.
get me to guess, estoy en Machu Picchu, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work. That and the teacher do it.
Because then they would all be collaborating and trying to get me to guess. And then if there were students that don't have, because not all of them have Chromebooks, if we did have a student that could actually change their background, then we could give others a chance to volunteer and do the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I suppose they could draw something on a whiteboard and put it behind them as well.
Yeah. Pull up a picture, do their own art.
You can tell them to find something in your house to represent your culture, your family, and they go run and find it.
Mhm.
And I told my
Oh.
students they also we have a dog party. Everybody have to bring the dog to Christmas Eve, and everybody brought the dog, and they need to do two Spanish tricks. So bring your dog. That would be a prize for your student. Or you show your camera. Bring your dog to the class.
Yeah, they love showing off their pets.
Yeah.
So it's challenging teaching online. Trust me. Or you can put music in the back, and then they try to guess who's this famous music. Even if it's not in Spanish, who cares? Music that's related to them too.
Mhm.
But share the sound, don't share it. And then they were like, oh, this is whatever. Put the music from the weekend tomorrow, but the good one, no?
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know, a challenge. It's a very challenge, but we made it, we survived.
Listening to your ideas about
barely.
describing background and stuff like that. When I was still in school a couple of years ago, one of our teachers asked us to bring an artifact that it was personal and meaningful, and we had to describe it and share it with the class. And I thought that was a great idea, and maybe uh, you know it can be done also in the classroom. And I think I'm gonna do that with my class. And it can be something like a picture of anime that they like, or it can be a piece of clothing, like a typical outfit, or whatever. It can be just anything, and they have to describe what it is and why it's meaningful. The people had all kinds of artifacts, very, very interesting. One of my classmates shared some candle holders that they've been in her family for like several generations, and they normally use it around Christmas time. And they always light the candles and pray and have dinner, but it was very traditional. It had been going on from generation to generation. So I thought that was very interesting. And again, there were so many things that I cannot remember all of them, but maybe we can have, do something similar.
I think that's a great idea, especially for your students who might have
Yes.
different cultures, and they should so revel in everything that they bring to the table, because people like me, I have no culture to bring, and I miss that. I miss that even though I never had it. So, and I think that it's so much a part of student identity.
Yes, because some of the activities that we have had, like at the beginning of the school year, I had them do a slide, PowerPoint, no, a slide, Google slide presentation, introducing themselves. Este o esta soy yo, and they had to talk about their, the background and whatever they felt comfortable with, right? From where they were born, and if they were born, I mean, exactly where they were born, you know, like the city, the state, you know, the country, whatever, you know, if they were not born here in the US. And if they were born here, where are the parents from? You know, if they're from Mexico, Guatemala, whatever, or, you know, or maybe they were, you know, they're different nationalities. And also like how, you know, they're growing up, sharing some pictures, family members, their pets, what they like and everything. And, you know, and I mentioned to them, even though we have a lot of things in common, we are very different at the same time. You know, even if you're from Mexico, Mexico is so big that if you're from the north, you know, it's different from, you know, like the central Mexico or the south and so on and so forth. So it was very interesting. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I just want to be mindful of our time. Usually we go for about an hour, and I feel like this conversation took a really important turn in a super positive way. So I'm personally, Jen, I'm sorry. Well, no, so I jump in with the the choice boards thinking that's going to be helpful, but oh my gosh, that's not what, you're right, Jen. Keep it, I need this reminder personally. This reminder just slapped me in the face. Keep it simple. Like just back up. We're so technology focused right now. Why? All of these ideas right now that you are sharing, ladies, holy cow, I just feel this gigantic, like, why are we working so hard? You're absolutely right, Jen. The kids are the ones, we provide the opportunity and they're the ones that should take it and run with it. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Truly.
and it doesn't matter what you do. And I think those are all really wonderful ideas. And you know, tech has its place, but sometimes, listen, turn your camera off 10 minutes. I want you to draw something. And then you have to come back and share it with your breakout partner. Like, we can't do that. I can't do that because I don't know how to break them out. But, you know, and who cares what they talk about? I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, just, the drawing, listen to your own music. And I don't know. I just think that's great. Or play music in the background. And even in English, I think that's great too. You know, what does the song say? Does anybody really even listen to the lyrics anymore? I mean, simplify for yourselves. Because
Mhm.
it's simple for you, it will be simple for them, and they will appreciate it. My students have said that. Thank you so much. I don't have deadlines anymore, but I can do that because I'm not teaching them how to be deadline people. See, I make up my own words. You know, so make it easy for you, and that you will make it easy for them, and they will thank you for it. I know they will.
Super powerful. Jen, thank you. Thank you.